What happened was I was on the NIST Oversight Committee for the $16 million study. The wings were filled with fuel.
Right.
And had they been empty, the plane would have lost. And what happened is, with very, very sophisticated videography, they were able to literally take videotapes and see that the building literally, when the planes hit, the buildings swung, in the case of the North Tower, to the south.
Right.
And once the plane was fully engulfed in the building, it vibrated back and forth for about maybe, 5-10 oscillations.
So that's not something that we'd be able to see with the naked eye type of...
No, but interestingly, NIST's conclusion was that the viscous dampers that were put in the original design really weren't doing anything.
And those are some sort of repelling mechanism or something?
Well, the floor system in the World Trade Center was never used before on a tall building and will never ever be used again. It was open web bar joists. It was the same thing you'd see in a high school gymnasium or a Walmart or a Lowe's or a big box retail. And they're almost impossible to fireproof because you can't get the fireproofing to stick.
Right.
But in addition, the building was so light that the dynamic studies done back in the early 60s showed that the building would have been unoccupiable.
Well, that's what I don't understand, too, is like if you go back to early footage of the Trade Center and early interviews, they were the strongest steel structures mankind had ever known. They were like a triumph for engineering. And all of a sudden now, it seems like people are saying that they were just these light, almost like made of balsa wood or something.
The people who designed it and the Port Authority in their public relations and publicity said what you just said. But in fact, in plain English, the buildings were a piece of shit.
Really?
They were horrible. They were horrible buildings. They used an open web bar joist, which has 1-inch diagonals. It's like a high school gym roof. Mm-hmm. You can't spray them. And it would never have been allowed if the Port Authority had to comply with the New York City Building Department. They didn't have to. They were immune.
Were you involved with the NIST investigation?
Yeah, I was on the Oversight Committee. I was in all the meetings.
Okay, because as far as I know, the FEMA report contradicts the NIST report. Like where FEMA has FEMA has it where they held together and pulled the core. NIST has it where they separated.
The FEMA report was done by ASCE, American Society of Civil Engineers. Mm-hmm. They only had $1 million. They didn't have enough money to do the right job. And in my opinion, it was a whitewash.
Right, and then NIST did it after, and they got like $16 million or something.
$16 million.
And they came to the opposite
NIST
conclusion.
did everything they needed to do that they could do. There's still always going to be some conjecture.
I guess it was a Japanese guy that designed it or something. He's dead now or something. But like all the people that were designing it, that's what they would expect to see under those circumstances. Like it turned out the way that they thought it would happen when designing the building.
They designed a building that was cheap, flimsy, and essentially a piece of crap. It's a horrible building.
Yeah.
And anybody that died in it should be suing everybody. But everybody's whitewashed it. The FEMA whitewashed it. ASCE whitewashed it. Nobody wants to tell the truth about the fact that